I always took my no's, and there's been more no's than yeses, but I always took those no's as a not right now. But you better believe I'm going to be back here in 3 months' time, and I'm going to be knocking on your door, and we're going to be having this same conversation.
It's a real estate agent.
Yeah.
Oh, she's a sales queen. I don't even think I told Gaz at that point in time, early days, that I didn't even live in Melbourne.
Yeah, right.
Yep, I'll be there on Saturday. Yep, shit, oh my God, I've got to fly down from Darwin. I honestly twitch whenever I talk about it because it was so fucking scary. But I seemingly had the only microphone in Queensland that worked. And all of a sudden, you've just got to talk and hope that what comes out of your mouth sounds okay.
Welcome back to the dos&d show. We've got a really, really special guest with us today. We can't wait to chat with her. Abbey Holmes, welcome.
Yes, Abby.
Hello. Thank you. It is great to be here. Nice that we could finally tee this up and make it happen.
Oh, well, unfortunately, we've messed you around a couple of times, so apologies for that. But thank you so much. You've just come from Footy Talk. Tell us what a typical weekend in the life of Abbey Holmes is.
Typical weekend. Well, this year it's changed a little bit, which has been nice. So I effectively hadn't had weekends for 7 years.
Yeah.
Grinding away, saying yes to every opportunity and trying to find my way in this media landscape.
Yep.
But this year I've been working Thursday night footy up until round 13 with 7 and Friday night footy, and I've actually had some Saturdays and Sundays off, which has been bloody pleasant.
That's really nice.
But no, it's full on. I can't believe we're already, round 18 down, and we've only got 6 games remaining in the home and away season. So season flies once you get stuck into it, and we're already kind of at the pointy end now.
Yeah, for sure. How have you found, I guess, being able to say no to things now? You mentioned that just then, like probably the whole entire lead up your career, you're probably saying yes to every opportunity you can. Is it nice to now be able to have some flexibility now that you've, finally found, there's no Thursday or Friday night footy if Abby's not there, in my opinion. So,
well, I'm still a yes girl. Like I still, my big philosophy is say yes to every opportunity that ever presents itself, because you never know where it'll lead you, who you'll meet, and what opportunities might come from that one. So I still do say yes to a lot of things, but it has been nice this year to actually sit back, relax, and have a day off on a Saturday or a Sunday around, TV and radio commitments, of course.
I heard a rumour. I'm not sure how true it is. So
I was just going to say,
straight off the top.
We're 1 minute in and he said the word rumour. Oh, mate.
We love rumours here.
Yeah.
And I don't know how true it is, but I'd love you to debunk it or confirm it for us. So in your early years in the media, were you potentially paying your own way to get your foot in the door and take up opportunities? Is that true or not?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I look back now, so Facebook memory, you got to love Facebook memories when they pop up. My first ever EJ Whitten Legends game was back on July 1, 2014. Can you believe it?
Wow.
And that came off the back of kicking the 100. And
That's right.
I was kind of just thrown into this media. Can I say shitstorm?
You can say whatever you like.
I mean, yeah. But, an area that I'd been, it was so foreign to me, put it that way.
Yep.
And I was thrown into TV interviews and radio interviews and getting pushed and pulled in so many different directions. But at the end of the day, I was living in Darwin.
Mm-hmm.
I was a real estate agent. I am a real estate agent by trade. Was selling houses up there and just having a kick on the weekend with my mates. And from that moment of the Legends game, my life changed forever. And I worked out very quickly that I had a real passion for the football media landscape and wanted to really pursue any opportunities and create opportunities for myself in that space. So I certainly couldn't just drop what I was doing in the NT, because that's obviously where the money was coming from. But I was spending every dollar I was earning, flying myself down to Melbourne and working in the VFL for Channel 7 when that opportunity opened up. And just literally, I remember my first meeting with Gary O'Keefe at Channel 7, who's the EP of the AFL, and flew myself down from Darwin to Melbourne purely for that meeting. And I was living on the smell of an oily rag. I had no money.
Right.
I remember as well one time getting back from the VFL working weekends. I got back on a red eye at 2 a.m. on a Monday morning before going to work, and I got back to my little unit and I didn't have any power. I'd forgot to pay my power bill. I didn't have any money to pay my power bill. I rang my mum in tears, and she was living in Darwin, so I got back in the car and drove to her house. But I was genuinely investing everything that I was earning back into chasing opportunities.
Wow.
So it's pretty crazy when you look back at the hard years. And in this space, it can be pretty brutal as well. Mm-hmm. People, they like you, they don't like you, but they don't necessarily see everything that's gone into the journey. So when I look back, when people who know what's gone into it look back, it is a pretty special thing to reflect on.
Was there a person throughout that time, maybe when you were, say, doing the VFL as an example, that because that's tough work, and you'd probably call it your apprenticeship. You're really trying to do your time essentially. Was there a person when you're doing all these flights, it's becoming draining? Was there a certain person that kind of you went to that was kind of like, no, just keep going, don't stop, just keep going?
Well, that would have to be Gary O'Keefe at 7, as I said, the EP of the AFL, and he has been such a massive part of my journey. First and foremost, he took a punt on a young girl from Darwin who was just a diehard footy fan who'd never really worked in the broadcasting space before. I wasn't exactly local, but he gave me the opportunity. I had to run with that. I was still living the double life of getting myself from Darwin to Melbourne, and I don't even think I told Gaz at that point in time, early days, that I didn't even live in Melbourne.
Yeah, right.
Yep, I'll be there on Saturday. Yep, shit, oh my God, I've got to fly down from Darwin. But Gaz has just been so pivotal for my growth and my development. I'm so grateful for the opportunity first and foremost, but he would be the first one off air on a Sunday or a Saturday picking up the phone and saying, hey, Abs, how did you feel? You did this really well. Don't ever do that ever again.
What's an example of don't do that again?
I don't know. There's just been so many times. I've gone completely blank on live television before, and he's rung me straight after and said, hey, Abs, don't worry about it. It happens to the best of us. Just onwards and upwards, keep growing, keep developing. So I have to say Gary first and foremost for, as I said, A, taking the punt and giving me the opportunity, but B, really nurturing the growth and the development space for me over the last 7 years or so.
It's interesting because you say that you're not necessarily prior to all this, you had no experience in broadcasting or anything like that. But what you often hear, and I heard this in a pub only like 2 weeks ago, and people you came on the screen and they said, Abbey Holmes never fumbles, never makes a mistake. Like, she's so clean. Like, where does this gift come from in the broadcasting sense? Because is it in the real estate world?
Yeah, so that's a very good question. And I absolutely think that I've been able to kind of transfer my skills as a real estate agent over to the broadcasting space. And as an agent, in sales in particular, you are dealing with people's biggest financial asset in life. So you have to be able to build trust. You have to be able to build rapport and relationships because they are putting so much trust into you to get the best possible outcome for them. And I think those skills transferring over to the media landscape, I'm really proud, and I don't know if you guys can see this, but I'm proud of the relationships that I've built within the industry. Players trust me, coaches trust me, and that's something I'm really proud of. I mean, they know I'm not a hard-hitting journalist just trying to get a headline or make a front page story or a back page story or whatever it might be. I'm first and foremost a die-hard footy fan, like we all are. I'm a footy head. I love the game. I've played the game. I know the game. And, I'm really proud of those relationships that I've built.
So the trust. So what we see on TV, especially your role with other media personalities, but in particular the players, when you say trust, our last guest, Joey Scandizo, he was talking about how he built his basically network and the trust essentially that you've built with your players. But it seems it's a totally different industry, hairdressing, but he would often go out and connect with people or go and get a coffee or go and get a beer. Or how have you found yourself over that, well, probably more than 7 years, building that trust? Because it's not just, Abby's the one who interviews me after the game. There's got to be something more than that for the player to trust you. Or is it that?
Well, that's just having conversations. Yeah. And I hate this, but I feel like I am one of the boys in that sense, so in the AFL world, first and foremost.
I love that.
So I think that you're just having conversations. Like, ultimately, I would love for them to be able to, feel like they're in a safe space with me. But it's kind of a friendship as well. Like, I've got so many great mates now, running around in the AFL week in, week out. I don't know, that is a good question, and I probably haven't thought about it, how I've best kind of gone about it. But I think I'm a pretty approachable person, I would feel anyway. I don't even really know. I don't know where to go with that one. That's a good question. Yeah. I don't think I've ever been asked that before, but just...
Well, it's an interesting part of the media landscape because we don't see, like, you're a normal human. You do normal
Yep.
daily things like everyone else. And you've got relationships with people that probably so many of us look up to. So
Yeah.
that's just part of your, everyday living, I guess.
Absolutely. And I'd like to think I'm very just authentically me as well. I don't try and be someone else or do things differently, when that red light is rolling versus when it's not. So I think you'll be able to get the gist of that as well. I just like footy first and foremost.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's been a pretty crazy couple of years.
Well, I was going to ask because there was a time, I don't know when it was, maybe 10 years ago, when post-game interviews were just so mundane. Like, it was just the same questions, same answers. You could almost sit there and just, as a punter watching, you could probably just guess exactly what they're going to say. We've had footballers come in here and we talk, have a great podcast, but then afterwards, sometimes the truth comes out of which is fair enough too. But how do you think players and clubs are starting to relax a little bit in players showing personality? Would you like to see more? What would you encourage players to do to engage more with probably the viewers?
It's a really hard one, isn't it? Because we saw Adam Simpson come out last week. This is a man he was at the helm for 11 years of that football club, took them to a grand final in 2015, took them to a flag in 2018, but he has been absolutely smashed by the media in the last 3 years, and unfairly so. Mm-hmm. And I loved his comments on the way out, just saying to a journalist over there in the West who...
That was funny, yeah.
Yeah, Mitchell Woodcock.
Woodcock.
Woodcock. That we are human beings. We've got families. We are fathers. We are sons. We are husbands. We are wives. And sometimes things just get lost in the media space. And he said, you've got to get that in check. This is a game. Of course, it's a game that we all know and love, and it is based on wins and losses. But they lose sight pretty quickly about what that man brought to that football club, and focus on what's happened in the last 3 years, which breaks my heart. And I think we should be celebrating everything that man has done for the game and for the West Coast Eagles. But you ask so much of the players and the coaches, but sometimes when they come out and speak their mind, they're smashed.
Yeah, exactly.
So how can you expect them to come out and say more, do more, be more available to everybody when they don't necessarily feel comfortable in doing so because they're worried about the backlash that they're going to get? So I love post-game, my interviews with the players. I tend to try not to focus as heavy on the football stuff that we've just focused on for the last 2 hours, and try and bring a bit of a different aspect to it as well, a little bit more of a human element, not just how many contested possessions or clearances or goals that particular player has registered on the night.
Well, do you follow the NBA at all? Or do you see how they go, the players go about, post-game interviews or pre-game interviews, or just, again, some people love it, some people hate it, but it's theatre. Do you like that style, or do you think there's no place for it here?
I love it. I love nothing more than seeing LeBron James post-game. He's taken his jersey off. He's at his locker and he's got, 10,000 microphones around him with people just, throwing questions at him. I like the freeness to that and the rawness, I guess, behind it. But in saying that, if I'm a media manager of a football club, I'm doing whatever I possibly can to protect my players, my coaches, my staff, everybody involved. So I understand the handling of it over here. But I think they do it bloody well over there in America.
I hope you're enjoying this one. We're bloody loving it.
Oh, yes.
Abbey Holmes, an awesome, awesome personality in the footy industry. But we couldn't have this interview with Abbey Holmes without Fleet Plant Hire Solutions.
Now, when Abby's doing the crosses on Channel 7, she's walking across the green grass. I mean, that kind of stuff just doesn't happen overnight. No. Stadiums don't get built, roads don't get built without guys like Fleet Plant Hire Solutions, does it?
Every project, big or small, they are the kings when it comes to earth moving equipment. What kind of equipment are we talking?
A fleet hire, plant hire, truck hire?
The biggest constructions, typically they're involved. Head to fbh.com.au for more information.
Back to the episode with Abbey.
When you're talking about humanising, and I'm going to bring this up, but like with even your post-game interviews, that whole drama that went with the kiss with Lachie Neale, like to me that's humanising the players as well.
Yeah.
Like that's the most human, normal respect a man and woman typically do. And even that is taken out of context and just spun. Like, so you yourself have been, under that same scrutiny as Adam Simpson in a different way.
Yeah. What a ridiculous thing that was, first and
ridiculous.
foremost. And Lockie's a great friend of mine as well. So every time I interview him over the last, 5 or 6 years or so, he's always greeted me with a kiss on the cheek, or we've said goodbye with a kiss on the cheek. Only a week earlier than that one, we had Tom de Koning in the rooms. He greeted me with a hug and a kiss, and he said goodbye with a hug and a kiss. But for some reason, that one incident just got picked up and just blew up, which was absolutely crazy. But that's something that it blows my mind that it even became news in the first thing. It's something that's so natural and organic for friends to go out, or, people that you're very comfortable with. I certainly don't have that kind of relationship with everybody across the competition. There's no doubt about that. I'm not just going to go and, kiss anybody on the cheek. But, I've got so many strong relationships now across the competition that it is just so normal, and you don't even think twice about it.
How did that actually, was that through fans or Twitter, or was it an article? How did that whole situation blow up?
So it was funny because it came out a week after the fact as well. So the incident had happened on a Friday night. It was Brisbane and Doggies at Marvel, where once again that actually shows how much of a non-news story it was. The fact that nobody said anything for a week.
Yeah.
And then there was an article that came out, a journalist just for some reason felt the need to write about it, which was very weird. But I'm fine. Everybody's fine. I think the showing of support was overwhelming for me. I feel like everybody across the football community really rallied behind me, which was certainly not driven by myself or Channel 7 or anybody. I think that the public uproar for the article being written in itself was probably enough.
Well, I think it's, for 98% of people, it's pretty obvious. It's ridiculous. It's just that minor...
That minor 2%.
Yeah. With you were talking about like your start having mentorship and having others help you. I want to go to someone like an Aaron Phillips, who is new in the media landscape, especially, under big lights where, whether it's Friday night footy or Saturday night footy or Thursday night footy. Do you see yourself now as someone who can help someone like Erin, develop her skills and attributes in a totally different, realm than on field to now off field? And does she now come to you for certain things at times, being now Adelaide girls and whatever?
It's pretty cool. Yeah, she was my captain, of course, for the first couple of years at the Crows, and she is the GOAT of the AFLW. 3 flags, of course, with the Crows, and just a bloody good person as well. So she's only recently retired and now getting more into the football broadcasting space. And I've been, the first one to reach out via a text message kind of in the pre-season before we got into it, and just said, if you have any questions or want to know anything, please reach out and let me know. But I've loved working with her as well. It's something that it can be scary. I mean, live television can be a scary place. Like if you stuff up, it goes to a nation. I've been there. We've all been there. Anyone who works in live television. But yeah, I think we've got, her, Joel Selwood, we've got so many, I guess, newbies on the broadcasting space this year, which is an exciting thing for Channel 7. And they're only going to get bigger, better, faster, stronger in the broadcasting sense as they get the games under their belt.
On that as well, because there is so I reference to the Sunday Footy show, right? And they love to take the piss out of, anyone and everyone in the industry that makes the minor mistake.
Yeah.
And they've targeted the newbies. I don't know if you've seen that, but they do. They've gone after the Selwoods.
Yeah.
They've gone after the Koches, and almost making fun of their inexperience in this media landscape. Like, what do you kind of think about that?
Mate, if you went back to my first few broadcasts in the VFL, I would absolutely be doing the same things and making mistakes and learning and growing. Same for everybody. Nathan Brown, Matthew Lloyd. If you went back and watched their first few broadcasts, I'm sure that they made a few errors along their journeys as well.
We can't listen to our first 100 podcasts.
Exactly
Amy,
right.
Exactly.
So it's not something that you can just jump in and expect to absolutely dominate as much as you want to.
Yeah.
Sometimes you've just got to learn and grow on the job, and you watch in 12 months' time, in 3 months' time, in 5 years' time, everybody's going to be better for the runs on the board.
What would your advice be for somebody that's maybe the players that retire at the end of this year and they try and forge their way into the media? Because I've heard, again, that there's a lot of cuts going on at the moment. There's people like you that have probably grown their own niche, but for the I think about the ex-footballers that come out of the game. They may be a legend, but there's so many legends that are stacking up now over the years. How do they form their own personality or role when it's so difficult? Without a lot of them say, I don't want to go and hate on the players because I've been there myself. But then you see people like Kane Cornes that have, by sharing his true feelings, has done so well. What would your advice be for those kind of people?
Another really good question, I guess, but it is trying to have a point of difference, isn't it, right? Because the industry can get quite saturated. I mean, everybody wants to have the opportunity to sit there, watch footy and talk smack. Like, what a dream that is. But look, I think just being authentic as well. Don't try and be something that you're not, but try and find that point of difference, whatever that might be for you as an individual. But yeah, it is challenging. As you said, there's a number of players retiring year in, year out that are looking to get into the media landscape. But as well, it does kind of suck in this space too that you've got some players that might play 20 games. That would be excellent media personalities, but you've got the 250 gamers, the 300 gamers that have the runs on the board. They've got the premierships, the best and fairest, the All-Australian Blazers. So it is a really challenging landscape to try and navigate. But my advice would be to just keep knocking on doors, having conversations, and don't take no for an answer. Like for me personally, if I had have listened to every no that I'd had along the journey, I certainly wouldn't be here talking to you guys in the position that I am today. Whereas I always took my no's, and there's been more no's than yeses, but I always took those no's as a not right now. But you better believe I'm going to be back here in 3 months' time and I'm going to be knocking on your door and we're going to be having this same conversation.
It's a real estate agent.
Yeah.
Oh, she's a sales queen.
I love it.
But you know what I mean? Like don't take no for an answer. Keep knocking on doors and do the work. Like it's bloody hard work.
Love it.
I've asked this question to probably a lot of our guests. Is like, have you ever struggled with jealousy? Like you're talking about getting into an industry, into a certain area of the industry, which is just so limited for spots, like you said.
Yeah.
Did you ever struggle with seeing other people who are probably similar to you in terms of experience, just coming in, like they're getting opportunities, you're not? Can you be happy for them? Can you be frustrated?
Yeah.
Bit of a mixture?
I think there's always a little bit of a mixture. I mean, there's not jealousy as such. I mean, this, I guess, space that I came into now 7 or 8 years ago was male dominated.
Yeah.
That's why I really wanted to continue to push my way and knock on doors, break down barriers and try and, I guess, pursue a career in this space because there wasn't very many women doing it. There's some incredible journalists that I've idolised in, Caroline Wilson, who has been there for a very long time and has copped a lot of shit throughout her career. Sammy Lane as well, from a Seven perspective. Daisy Pearce was coming through at the same kind of time as me as well. So certainly not jealousy. Like for me now to see the growth of the game, with the AFLW, with more and more women becoming involved with, football broadcasts and the media landscape, like that makes me proud. And it makes me proud knowing that there's so many young girls now around the country that can turn on their television, they can turn on their radio, they can listen to podcasts and they hear strong female voices in this landscape. And they'll never have to know that, 50 years ago, 60 years ago, 30 years ago, it was so male dominated. They're going to have the opportunities, and that old saying, what was it? If you can't see it, you can't be it, or you can't be what you can't see. Like that's going to be non-existent, hopefully, in the next 5, 10, 20 years to come.
I want to know about your relationship with the media when you were playing, because your pathway is totally different to probably most AFLW players in terms of, you mentioned the Legends match and suddenly we all knew who you were. We heard of the stories from Darwin, all that sort of stuff. But you come in with probably a chip on your shoulder, I imagine, because you're one of, at the time, a few players that we actually know of or heard of. How was your relationship then as a player?
It was funny because in Darwin, and I don't mean this, I'm so not an arrogant person and I really struggle to talk about myself, but in Darwin, so I played footy for Waratahs for 4 years. We won 4 flags.
How many goals?
Well, leading goal kicker on 4 occasions. But that second year of the 100, I was literally, the media bought into that story. And I was, front page, back page, middle page in the lead into that 100. It was like they were along the journey with me. They were celebrating every little milestone with me, which was pretty cool as a player, right? And Jess Webster as well, who is now, calling games for Fox Footy and ABC. Right. She was the journalist for the NT News and also a teammate of mine at Waratahs during that period of time. So she covered that story phenomenally well. Like if I'm, obviously the subject of it, but just her commitment to following the story was amazing. But then all of a sudden the AFLW comes along and, everybody's heard about you. They've seen you running around in the Legends games. They know you've kicked 100. So you've got this, I guess, expectation to live up to. And I think that was really a challenge for me. I mean, I wish the AFLW came around 5 years earlier because I would have had a better run at it. But by that time, my body was cooked. I've had 4 ops on my right knee. I'm completely bone on bone. I've got a chronic hamstring and a bad back. So I certainly don't feel as though I was able to live up to expectation. And that was a challenge.
Sure.
How do you, I guess, go about following footy today? Like, you're a Crows fan. Do you struggle with any bias at all when you're watching the Crows?
Well, it's funny you should ask. So after I'd retired and, was kind of full-time media covering the AFLW, Gary O'Keefe had to keep messaging me saying, Ab, stop saying we.
Oh.
Like, stop saying, we. But I've definitely dropped that now.
That's a great talking point, actually, because he doesn't like that.
Yeah.
No, as a supporter,
yeah.
I'm funny. I don't like, grinds my gears. We were talking about it earlier, things that make you angry that shouldn't make you angry.
Yep.
I don't like it when the person next to me at the footy or the person behind me or the person to the left of me right now refers to we. We won. Did you? How did you contribute?
How did you contribute?
How many possessions did you get?
I bought a membership.
Yeah.
That's contributing.
But then it's funny, when the losses come, it's not we lost, it's they lost.
Absolutely. That is a very good point. A very good point. But yeah, I'm diehard Crows fan my entire life. Bought into a Crows mad family. I grew up idolising Bungie McLeod, Simon Goodwin, Mark Rasciuto, the Jarman brothers.
Bickley.
Yep, Bix as well. So yeah, they're always going to be my team. Everybody's got a team that they've grown up supporting.
And they were a good team as well.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. 97, 98. They were good years. I mean, I was 5 and 6, but that's okay. So you have to obviously not show any bias, but you've always internally got that soft spot.
Did you model your game after any player by any chance, or were you...
Not really. So for me, netball was my jam my entire life. So I was fortunate enough to represent South Australia for many years, from 13s, 15s, 17s, 19s, 21s through the Australian Netball League, and represent Australia at a junior level. And all I wanted to do growing up was be a professional netballer.
Yep.
And I grew up about an hour south of Adelaide at a place called Victor Harbour, and in the football, netball landscape, and I never saw women playing footy growing up. My sister and I and Mum, we played netball, and then it was the boys and the men that went and played football. So for me, it was never an option growing up, and only until I was, much later in life did I pick up the footy and start playing competitively for the first time at age 21. So I just kind of learnt along the way, and
What's the preparation for yourself personally? Like, it's a Monday. You do your podcast.
Yep.
You do another one. Is it on Wednesday?
Yeah, Monday, Wednesday.
And then it comes to Friday.
Yeah.
Or let's say Thursday. Say Thursday there's footy on. Obviously there's not, but you've got
surely
Thursday.
Next year every...
Yeah, Thursday. Yeah, I hope so.
Bring it back.
What's your prep? Because that's like Thursday and a Friday. That's pretty. That's a lot.
As you know, the football landscape moves pretty quickly as well, and you are expected as a member of the media fraternity to be an expert, right? And be on top of everything, all of the topics, all the news, all of the players, all of the stories. So there's a lot that goes into it. I don't just rock up on game day and hopefully, be good at my job and know what's going on. There's a lot of prep that goes into each and every game. So if I've got a Thursday and a Friday, which has been the case this year, back-to-back games, late nights, early mornings, it's been a lot. So I have to do a lot of my prep early. So I traditionally would always try and have a weekend. My weekends may be a Monday and half of a Tuesday. But then I'm always listening to, press conferences, post-game from the week before, pre-game this week. We're lucky enough that Champion Data, of course, and our amazing stats guys at Seven send through all of the stats throughout the week. So then you're just kind of filtering through them and trying to pick up on any trends or anything that you can use for the game itself. Watching a lot of tape, of course.
I was going to ask, how many hours per individual game do you think you spend preparation?
I reckon I would probably spend about 10 to 12.
Wow.
Yeah.
And that's probably nothing on the coaches.
Exactly right. And
Right.
I'm somebody who, I don't believe that there's anything called over preparing, but I'm probably as close to it as it possibly comes. Because in live television, you just never know what position you're going to be put in or what you're going to have to, I guess, draw on from your kit bag. Like for me, a perfect example of this is lights out at the Gabba, round 2 last year. Like I honestly twitch whenever I talk about it because it was so fucking scary. But I seemingly had the only microphone in Queensland that worked. And all of a sudden, you've just got to talk and hope that what comes out of your mouth sounds okay.
Wow.
Even thinking about that.
Do you remember what you went with?
Yeah.
Off the top of your-
The lights are out at the Gabba and I actually said, nobody knows what's going on. And I remember texting, I think it was Richo and Hodgie, saying, you guys better be on the trot. Like,
That's
you better
so
be
funny.
piss bolting over the other side of the ground to help me because I'm one out. And then I think,
But you get to be part of one of those memories that, like,
Yeah,
we all see the the scoreboard that
Oh, no. Oh, no.
fly
yeah, with JB.
yeah. We see that, so it's etched in history, Abby.
It is.
Yeah.
It is. But that's the thing. In those situations, like you might have read something on a Tuesday, or I'm a big writer, so I tend to write everything down and then it's in my head.
Yep.
That's just the way that I guess, learn and lock things away. So you just never know when that piece of information becomes relevant and when you need to draw on it. So,
Sure.
yeah, that's why I probably do a lot of prep for each game, but I certainly wouldn't change it. I like to go in feeling like I'm in a really good spot.
And then maybe take us a little bit behind the scenes. So you rock up to the game. Who would be the Friday night team? And then do you get together, have a chat,
Yeah.
maybe have a meal together, and then go off into your own positions and get ready?
Yeah, so we've got a set Friday night team. So it's JB and BT calling and Richo Hodgie specials, and then I'm down on the boundary. And has
Proper
been that,
A grade, isn't it?
Yeah.
Oh, no, but it has been,
Yeah, it's the
you know,
dream team.
we've now been, that team for a few years now. And we actually have a Tuesday afternoon meeting where we sit down and run through, I guess, a few pointers from last week, things that we did really well, things that we could work on, and then look forward to this week's game and what our producer, Dan, has in store for us. But on the day itself, I'm generally in the hair and makeup first because given I take a little bit longer than Brian Taylor.
The moustache.
Yeah. So I get in at about 4 and then everybody else at 5, and then we sit down and have our meeting. We'll do any news promos, all of the pre-recorded interviews, and then it's getting stuck into all of the live action. But we're all on song, like it is. I've always been part of teams, right? Netball into football. And I think that's what I love so much about the broadcast side of it as well, is that we're a big team that makes the wheels go round.
Well, I'm glad you said that, because being part of a good team is throwing each other under the bus sometimes. Can you throw any of them under the bus for, I don't know, missing meetings or being late or spending a bit too
Who's
much
less
time in the
prepared? Yeah.
makeup chair or less prepared? Is there any dirt you can give us?
Well, they would probably, when it comes to the meetings, throw me under the
Oh,
bus.
really?
I've missed a few in the last month or so, but I've had other jobs on that
Yep.
obviously fall on a Tuesday afternoon. So we only ever miss meetings if we've got other work things on the table. Who?
Well, we had a teammate of yours on,
Oh,
Richo, right?
yes.
And he threw BT right under the bus.
Did he?
Yep.
So he basically just told the story, and you'd know it, about how Brian has to sit at the front of the plane.
Mate.
And he told a very good story about how he got stuck on the plane
Yep, and they were
while
all
they were
having
in the
beers.
lounge having beers. So that's an example.
Oh, well, that's the big one. That's the
Yeah.
obvious one, is Brian Taylor's travelling habits. But look, Hodgie and Richo, I love everybody that I work with, but those two are a lot of fun on a Friday in the pre-game. Luke Hodge came to my wedding in November, and I tell you what, I've never seen a man sweat so much.
Really?
He's somebody who normally sweats in the middle of Melbourne winters.
The
like-
jacket's off.
Yeah.
I
And
was
it-
hoping that was on just tearing up the dance floor. Or not.
No, and then it was
Was it in Darwin wedding?
Uluru, so
Uluru.
Red
Oh,
Centre.
yeah, right,
And
so
it's not
chuck him
cold.
on a sand dune in a 40-degree Northern Territory Red Centre day. He was, sweating bullets.
Yes.
But I actually put up a video, a funny one, on Instagram. I think it was last week, with Hodgie and my bloopers. Funny as. I mean, we're normally one take wonders when it comes to the 20-second news promo that we need to push out. But for some reason, on this one occasion, it was just after his 40th, so he uses that as an excuse.
Okay.
It was a big few days. But he forgot how to speak. And so everybody sees, live what goes to TV, and we can make mistakes, and live television is a bloody scary place. But sometimes with those pre-recorded things, there's a lot of funny moments behind them.
Well, we just giggle our way through all our pre-recorded ad reads and stuff, and it takes way too long to do it. I want to change tack a little bit towards the end of this. So moving a little bit away from footy, you've done a bit of reality TV.
Oh, yeah.
Is there one that you'd like to do in a dream world? Is there anything you'd like to tick off? Is it a dance show or a singing show or a
Well, I
cooking
can't
show?
sing and I can't dance, so probably not on that front.
Fair enough.
SAS, 0 out of 10, do not recommend, by the way.
Was that tough?
Or you
Yeah.
hanging on to that thing. I'll
Mate.
never forget that.
And like heights for me
Yeah.
is my thing.
Oh,
I mean, I'm kidding. It was an incredible experience, but the whole concept of the show is to try and break you, right?
yeah, of course.
So that was a big challenge. And then Survivor twice in 2019. That was an experience and a half. Everybody always asks how
So you did All Stars, didn't you?
Yeah. Everybody always asks, how real is it? And I
Yeah.
thought the same thing going in. Do they stop filming and sneak you a burger or whisk you off to a comfy bed? But no, I genuinely didn't shower or brush my teeth for 46 days. So that was brutal as well. But through those experiences, I mean, I'm a sucker for punishment first and foremost. Why couldn't I do some cushy little travel show? But
That'll come one day.
Yeah,
That's just,
one
you got
day.
to do the hard job.
but you learn so much about yourself.
Yeah.
And I've always been a mentally tough person, I think. But when you put yourself through these situations where you're uncomfortable, you're hungry, you're emotional, you don't have your support network around you, like you learn so much about yourself. And I learned that I'm capable of so much more than I even think I am. And I always use the analogy, like, tell me to squat here for 2 hours right now and I'll tell you to get nicked. But don't feed me for 30 days. Tell me to squat here for 2 hours and I can absolutely do it. So it's just the power of the mind and the way that you approach things. And with SAS as well, like, we all are scared of something. Everybody's got a fear, no matter what it might be. Everybody is scared of something. But one thing that this experience did teach me is that it should never stop you from doing things. It's all just your mindset and being mentally tough and running headfirst at things that scare you, because once again, you never know what's going to come of it. And I think we as human beings are so wired to move away from things that scare us, to move away from things that make us uncomfortable. But the growth that we experience from those moments and from being uncomfortable, that was pretty special.
It's really well said.
This is probably a bit of a deeper level from that. Is like, what's the hardest thing you've had to overcome in your life?
Oh, goodness me. Well, I think some of the things that I'm really proud of, like, I'm a big one for sliding doors moments, right? So at the age of 20, I had never lived out of home. I'd never stood on my own 2 feet. I'd never even done grocery shopping. And I go to my dad and I say, Dad, I'm moving across the country. I'm moving to Darwin. I'd never even been to Darwin. At that point in time, I was moving for a boy.
Oh,
so
really?
my dad's worst nightmare, having his 20-year-old daughter come to him and say she's moving her life across the country where she has no family, she has no friends. But it's those moments for me, like having the guts to do that as a 20-year-old girl was something pretty big.
Yeah, it's massive.
And if I hadn't have made that move, if I hadn't been strong enough and I guess had the guts, as I said, to do that, I wouldn't have started playing footy. I wouldn't have, kicked the 100. I wouldn't have played in the EJ Whitten games. I would have been drafted by Adelaide. I wouldn't have got my job with Seven. I wouldn't be where I am today. So it's funny when you look back on it to say, that's scary.
Yeah, absolutely.
As a young girl, to do something that drastic.
Tell what's more scary. If you didn't do it, what would you be doing now?
Exactly right. Yeah. And 100%.
Like, that's frightening probably to even imagine.
I think about that. I do think about it all the time, though, going, I'm so grateful for those sliding door moments and for being somebody that is actually quite comfortable with being uncomfortable. But yeah, it is crazy when you think what I could be doing.
nuts.
Sometimes good things come from your ex-relationships.
Yeah, I know.
Sometimes.
I know. No, he's done very well. He's still loving it up in
Good on him.
Darwin won a few flags, so
Yeah.
can't complain.
Good on him. And what you're doing now, which is amazing. Before we're going to go over to Golf Box shortly and see how you go at putting,
God.
Abs. But I don't know why we do a show monthly, just the two of us. We talk a lot of shit, and we have these random subjects and random talking points, and ask random questions, and we put it to our listeners, and they always feed back with some fantastic answers. But I want to throw a couple at you just to see, quick fire, what comes to mind. So the first one is, what's one thing that makes you angry that probably shouldn't?
One thing that makes me angry that probably shouldn't. My cat eating a hair tie last weekend and costing me $5,000 for 24 hours of emergency care.
That's fair, though.
Yeah, I think you're allowed to be angry at that.
And funnily enough, Keegan and I had just spoken about pet insurance a
Oh,
week
no.
earlier. We said it's a 5-month-old indoor little cat. We'd be fine for another few months. Boom, eats a hair tie, $5,000. Thank you very much.
That is incredibly infuriating.
Sorry, you probably didn't expect me to go there.
No, and that's a great thing. We like seeing where it goes. But here's an even more random one for you. We
Okay.
did this topic and everybody loved it. It's so random. What's one thing from your childhood that scared the shit out of you? That now, and I'm talking like TV show, like things that were creepy, like TV shows, movies, songs.
Yeah, characters. Like we had some
Characters.
great people send in remember the Trunch Ball from Matilda?
Yeah, Trunch Ball.
Things like that. Like,
Just random things.
Scared me.
Do you have one?
was there a song?
Video Killed the Radio Star scared a lot of our listeners.
Yeah.
Good song.
It's a hard question off the
That's a
top.
hard
I know
one.
it's hard. I just wondered if we won't dwell on it
Another
too
one we
long.
were saying, remember
Yeah, I
Law and
can't-
Order as a kid? Like your parents might have watched Law
Yeah,
and Order and the
my
theme song,
mum. I was a big Blue Heelers fan,
Ah.
so I used to always go to bed scared on a Wednesday night after Blue Heelers.
That could
There
be
you
it.
go.
There you go.
There you go.
Yeah,
There
that's
you go.
right.
That's
There's your cat up there too.
Oh, there's Lloyd. Funny
Lloyd.
story. So I am a self-confessed, like I am Billy Brownless super fan, right?
Yep.
Oh yeah.
So this cat was actually called Bill for 2 days, named after Billy Brownless. But then I kept looking at him and I was like, you're too cute to be a Bill. Like you don't look like a Bill.
You're too skinny.
So his name is now Lloyd. And
Lloyd.
funnily enough, it was after the Jeremy Piven interview I did with Seven, and everybody kept going, Lloyd, from Entourage.
Ah.
So that's where little Lloydie's name came from.
Well, actually, Billy's a great name for a pet because it's gender neutral and yeah. Actually, funny, the establishment you were telling us you were eating at before coming here, I often see Billy there.
Oh, really?
Yeah, often. Yeah,
I love that man. He's
but I'll tell you
absolutely
off air
hilarious.
what we see. But but do you want to go into Golf Box? Or we probably should thank the sponsors.
Yeah, firstly, we want to thank Fleet Plan Hire Solutions. We couldn't do the show without those guys. They've also got a little golf accessory kit, which they're going to send Abbey home with. So Fleet Plan have got some golf tees, golf balls, golf towel, golf glove. We know you love golf. So.
We do, yeah. I'm not very good at it. I do like it. I'm just not very good at
And
it.
then maybe do you want to talk a bit more about Golf Box?
Yeah, so Golf Box, we've brought in this brand new activation that you're about to have a go at, the putting challenge. So Golf Box is a great segment partner of ours. We're very fortunate to have them on board. And they're also sending you home with some exclusive golf balls and a voucher to their wonderful website, which is golfbox.com.au, and fast and free.
Gets to you fast and free. They're
shipping.
based in WA and it gets to you fast and free.
So they're going to look after you too. Anything else you want to cover off on Abs
No,
before
I've
we
absolutely
head
loved
over
it.
to...
I actually want to see Abbey have a crack at the putting.
Oh,
Yeah.
gosh.
Yeah.
But I mean, if you're living under a rock, how do we find you on social media, Abby?
Oh, what is my handle? Abbey C. Holmes.
Abby C.
I
Holmes.
was
Yeah.
just going to, mate, you could have just turned on the TV, put 7 on it.
True,
At
true.
10, 8
That's
on
what you got to
Friday.
do. That's what you got to
Yeah.
do. But for everybody listening, head over to YouTube to watch the next part. But thank you so much for joining us, Abby. It's been a pleasure, and we're so thankful for
No
time.
worries at all. Thank you so much for having me.
It's time for the famous Golf Box putting segment, or the activation. You like to use the word activation.
That's your word.
Yeah,
you
I
brought
do
that
like
to my
that word.
attention.
Abby, how you feeling about it?
Look, I'm not a great golfer. I mean, I enjoy it, but unfortunately, I'm not very good at it.
What
So
about your
you should
short
be
game?
concerned.
Your short game, your putting game. Mini golf?
I love a little bit of mini golf. Yeah.
Then you might be all right here.
There we go. Although Adam Sandler's face is, he looks really concerned about what's going to happen right now.
Well, we're going to ask you, is there any faces you enjoy on this media wall that Golf Box put together?
Pretty happy Gilmore.
Yeah, there's a few interesting ones if you for the viewers to look closely. But exactly what Dos said, you got a putting challenge. You got 6 balls over the course of a minute, and basically the scoring works like this. So this is your aim. If you can land it there, it's 50 points. Then we go 25, 20, 15. This square is 10.
Just so you know, you don't have to count.
You don't have to count. We'll do all the maths for you. And
Maths.
5, 3, 1, and anything off the board is 0. But if you can somehow land it flush, and we mean flush, on that dot,
Someone nearly got it.
you'll get 100 points. Now, the other thing that Golf Box are doing is, for the winner of this over the next 6 months,
We've got a dos&d leaderboard.
dos&d leaderboard, high score, $1,000 they're going to donate to a charity of that person's choice.
Yes.
Do you have a charity in mind off the top of your head?
Yes, I'll go Little Heroes Foundation in South Australia.
What do they do?
Children's oncology.
Okay,
Yeah.
beautiful. All right, so Little Heroes you're playing for. We're going to get the timer going in a moment. We're going to get you down this end of the putting green.
Let's do it.
And let's see how Abby goes. So you're going to have a minute?
What have you got a
How
tip?
do I even like?
Have you got a tip for Abby
Okay,
to
so
start off?
the only tip we can...
So don't hit it too hard.
The
right?
guest before us said it's a fast green.
Okay.
But that means different to everybody. So you use that information as you wish. And have you got the calculator ready to go? So ready,
Start that
God.
timer.
set, here we
Go.
go. Abby Holmes.
It's all right.
There we go. That's 3 points.
3. Second one.
There we go.
That's a great shot. What's that?
Is
That's 5. 5.
So we're on 8.
5.
There we go.
That's
There we
nice.
go. Oh, that's 15.
15.
23.
Got 3 to go. 3 to go. That's another. That's
3.
That was good though.
Oh,
I was trying to get the little
Yeah.
dot.
Big
I actually think that's not a bad strategy.
Oh no.
here it's coming back.
Oh,
I like that.
is that 15?
That's 20.
20. Last
You're
one.
going really well here. Here we go.
Oh,
And 10.
10.
She went over the dot.
that's all right.
That was very good. None went off the mat, which is the most important thing because most people hit them off the mat. Well
What's the
done.
total there?
What's the total there, Connor?
What do you mean? You went count? Quick
No,
math.
he can do it.
55? 55. That is very competitive.
Is that equal?
I think Joey got 58.
Oh,
Got the last 3.
That's
But surely you get an extra point for going over the bullseye thing. Nah.
No, unfortunately. I'd love to rewrite.
we're both like.
I'd love to rewrite the rules, but we made a pat this morning. We're not doing that because
Okay.
that's often what we do. But thank you so much for playing. As we said, we've got some presents for you that we said on the podcast.
Awesome.
But thank you so much.
No worries, guys. Anytime.